Shocking truth, the dark secrets of Poseidon. Discover the myths that haunt you at home. The wind howled through the eerie dark, and the waves crashed savagely against the jagged rocks. In the small coastal town of Merrow Heights, whispers of Poseidon's wrath sent shivers down everyone's spine. Locals claimed he wasn't merely a myth but a vengeful spirit, lurking behind the depths of their fears. Every sailor knew the stories: ships vanished, swallowed whole by the ocean's greedy maw. Fishermen spoke of ghostly silhouettes rising from the water, fingers tracing the surface like icy tendrils, beckoning the unworthy to join the deep, but it wasn't just folklore. A recent string of chilling events had shaken the town to its core. Just last week, an old fisherman stumbled upon a barnacle-encrusted trident, glinting with an otherworldly shimmer. Its discovery triggered a frenzy, compelling young and old to dig deep into ancient texts, searching for answers buried in the dark seas of secret legend. As shadows loomed, strange happenings became the new normal. The townsfolk reported unsettling dreams, the kind that left heavy, uncomfortable doubts swirling in the back of their minds, like a storm gathering on the horizon. "Did you see?" they would murmur. The waves were whispering. There was fear in their eyes, a haunting presence that no one could explain, an invisible thread connecting all the eerie happenings, winding tighter with every shocking revelation. Then chaos erupted on the night of the harvest moon. The sky erupted with thunder, a furious ballet of lightning framing dark clouds overhead. Suddenly, the ground trembled, sending kids screaming and adults scrambling. A tremendous wave surged forth from the ocean, crashing down onto the town, part baptism, part curse. The locals swore they heard an echoing laugh in the crashing waves, a sinister reminder that they couldn't escape their destiny. Hey, before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without warning. Take a quick second to check the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I'd hate for you to miss any of the exclusive content coming soon. And while you're there, smash that like button, it really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect. As the townspeople stood frozen, eyes wide, their trust in the old tales was falling apart with each crashing wave. Would this mark the return of Poseidon's ancient fury? Some believed they could appease the sea god with offerings, even as doubt gripped their hearts. Was there a way to turn the tide before it swallowed them whole? And lurking beneath, where shadows danced, the true nature of the god lay in wait, ready to reveal itself. What other secrets did the depths hold, waiting to awaken in the disarray? The night stretched on, the tumultuous waves still crashing against Merrow Heights with a wild fury. It was almost as if Poseidon himself were angry, lashing out at the town. The streets were deserted, but the air crackled with tension. Locals huddled in their homes, the dim glow of lanterns illuminating worry-worn faces. Whispers filled the quiet spaces, each one carrying the weight of fear. In the tavern, a small group gathered, their eyes darting nervously toward the windows. Old Man Jenkins, the fisherman with countless stories and a trident tattoo etched into his forearm, was recounting the night's haunting events. "It's the trident, I tell you. We disturbed something we should have left alone." His voice trembled, aged hands gesturing wildly as if trying to ward off the spirits he believed were closing in, nerves frayed like old nets. "We need to find that trident," Sarah, a steadfast woman with courage in her eyes, interrupted. "If it holds the key to appeasing Poseidon, we have to face it. We can't hide forever." The silence that followed was thick. She scanned the room, searching for a sign of agreement. "Who's with me?" Murmurs of hesitation rose. Hadn't the last wave been enough to remind them of their insignificance against the vast ocean? But the fear of the unknown gnawed at them more than the potential wrath of the god. Slowly, one by one, they nodded. As they prepared to venture into the depths of the woods leading to the beach, the tension in the air thickened. The storm, now a dull roar, hushed as the group crept towards the lighthouse. The beam spun, slicing through the fog, casting shadows like fingers grasping at the dark. What did the legend say? Someone whispered. Sarah recalled the stories, sharing details that chilled them. The trident's power can unleash storms or calm the sea. With it, Poseidon grants life or brings death. It's our only chance. The group pressed on, hearts pounding in synchronized fear. Shadows danced in the corner of their eyes, twisted forms creeping along the edges of the lighthouse. Each ominous flicker felt like teeth on their souls, nipping away at their resolve. They arrived at the shore. Moonlight glimmered on the water, giving it an eerie beauty. Suddenly, a thunderous crash broke the quiet, and a massive wave surged, crashing onto the sand with unparalleled force. Gasps of terror echoed among the group. They stumbled back, caught off guard by the raw power of the ocean. But through the chaos of foam and spray, something glinted beneath the water, a familiar shimmer. The trident! Sarah shouted, pointing into the depths. With her heart racing, she took a step closer to the edge of the water, the cold spray hitting her like icy daggers. We need it. But just as she reached for it, the surface began to twist violently, swirling around as if the sea itself had awakened. A deep growl rumbled from the depths, vibrating through their bones. The ocean-esque growl pierced the air, returning their gaze from fear to that dark abyss below. Run! Someone cried, but Sarah was rooted to the spot, eyes locked on the burgeoning shapes beneath the surface. Under the moonlight, the water twisted more violently, ghostly figures rising through the turbulent foam, silent watchers of their final moments. Please, Poseidon, spare us. An anguished voice echoed, but it was drowned out by the roar of an angry sea. And right when it seemed all hope was lost, a chilling silence fell over the shore, enveloping them in an unnatural calm. The ocean stilled, but in that stillness, a shadow emerged from the depths, towering, looming, ready to reach out. What did Poseidon want? Was there any way to escape? The answer danced like light on the water, just out of reach. Fear held the air like a heavy fog, pressing down on Sarah and her companions. The shadow that loomed above them pulsated, a dark promise sculpted from salt and sea. Sarah's heart pounded in her chest, each beat a drumroll of dread as she summoned her courage to confront whatever had risen from the depths. A whisper of wind brushed past her, and she felt it shiver over her skin like the touch of ghosts. Eyes wide, she noticed the fear etched across the faces of her friends. They were frozen in place. Behind her, a breath caught in someone's throat. We need to go. But she couldn't move. The shadow's form began to clarify, revealing scales glistening like obsidian under the moonlight. Its eyes glowed with an inner fire, ancient and terrifying. This wasn't just any creature of the deep, it was a guardian of the trident, summoned forth with its theft. Poseidon. Sarah breathed, stepping forward, her voice cracking under the weight of her audacity. We come in search of the trident. We didn't mean to disturb you. The shadow loomed closer, a massive figure now clawing its way from the ocean, dripping seawater that struck the sand like minor earthquakes. You disturbed the peace of the depths, it thundered, the very air vibrating with its rage. Only chaos follows your recklessness. The group flinched, eyes darting. We only wanted to, one voice began, but was silenced by an almost instinctive fear, the threat palpable between them and the creature of the abyss. Wanted? Poseidon's voice boomed, echoing across the shore. You desired power, but power exacts a toll. With a mighty arm, the entity gestured at the ocean, waves rising as if ready to crush them under a mountain of water. Sarah felt a twist of panic. What toll? She shouted, desperation mingled with the salty air. We'll do anything to fix this. For a moment, silence fell, thick enough to suffocate. The ocean, once a riot of chaos, now held its breath. Then the figure shifted, head tilting, its expression unreadable. The trident holds the balance of my domain, but you have awakened its wrath. To reclaim it, you must face the trials of the depths. Gasps washed through the group. Trials? Someone echoed, confusion and fear colliding. What kind of trials? Embrace your fate, the shadow commanded, eyes glinting with ancient knowledge. Only by confronting your deepest fears can you hope to reclaim your stolen destiny and restore balance. And just like that, the creature began to recede back into the ocean, shadow merging with water, a deep swell rising where it had stood. The group stood, hearts thunderous, breaths quickening. They were left shaken, staring at the spot where Poseidon had been, but the waves were restless. With the moon high above, whispers of ancient tales floated through the air. "We go in," Sarah said, gripping a friend's arm for support. "We must confront the trials of the depths, no matter the cost. Are we ready?" The faces around her hardened with determination, the fear replaced by a shared resolve born from desperation. They took a collective breath, heartbeats sinking as adrenaline surged. One step then another until they stood at the water's edge, shadows caressing them, ready to plunge into the unknown. As they entered the frigid water, the night sang with a new undertone of terror and destiny entwined, but as they submerged, the ocean parted them like a curtain, revealing something else lurking far deeper. Dark shapes flitted just beyond their line of sight, thrashing and swirling in the shadows. For the friends could feel it, the weight of their old regrets, each one bobbing to the surface, ready to be confronted in a way they could never have predicted. What other secrets lay in wait beneath those turbulent waves? Would they find the strength to face them, or would they drown in their own fears? The water enveloped them, cold and heavy. It surged against Sarah's skin, pulling her deeper into an abyss of darkness. Panic clawed at her chest, as if the waves themselves were trying to trap her. She fought against the sensation, but the shadows closing around her whispered tales of despair. "Stay close," she called, her voice barely piercing the surf. Her friends huddled together, their faces illuminated only by the faint moonlight filtering through the surface. Each flicker seemed like a fleeting promise, each shadow a lurking threat. Suddenly, a loud crack echoed from the depths. It rippled through the water, sending shivers along her spine. She glanced back, heart racing, to see one of her friends, Jake, shaking violently. "Something's here," he gasped, panic spilling from his eyes. "No. Just keep moving. We have to face the trials," Sarah yelled, her voice solid, though her insides twisted with fear. Time was slipping away, the weight of the ocean was no longer just water but suffocating chains of dread. As they descended further, faces of the past flashed like apparitions in the murky depths. Relentless regrets, moments of lost love, words left unspoken. Sarah's breath hitched as she confronted her most intimate fears, her brother's accident, the guilt gnawing at her heart. And then she heard it, a voice, deep and resonant, echoing through the water. "Face what you fear," it murmured, the sound vibrating through her bones. "Only then can you proceed." "What does that even mean?" Alice, trembling next to Sarah, gasped. I can't face him. Not again." "Then you won't survive," the voice declared again, the currents shifting around them, a powerful force demanding their surrender. The darkness thickened, swirling around them as vivid images coalesced: a stormy night, a family fractured by grief. "No. Get away!" Sarah screamed, tears mingling with the icy water. But the memories didn't relent. Each friend fought their own demons, their fears surfacing like the monsters of old. Jake grappled with the regret of never telling his best friend he loved her. Alice was haunted by a promise she broke long ago. "Hold on!" Sarah shouted through clenched teeth, grabbing Alice's hand. "We have to do this together." As they joined hands, the water began to pulse, alive with energy. The trials awaited, manifested in tangible shapes vying for dominance over them. A vast shadow loomed beside them, twisting, a creature formed from all their fears. It roared, an unholy sound that churned the water and rattled their souls. "Look out!" Jake cried, but Sarah couldn't look away. The creature's eyes glistened, promising to swallow them whole. Then, something shifted. In the grip of terror, they felt a surge of strength. Each friend, eyes glistening with tears yet burning with determination, began to face their haunting shadows. "You're not real. Alice screamed, confronting a reflection of her guilt. I will not be defined by you. The monster hesitated, flickering like a flame under a strong wind. This is not my end. Jake bellowed, pushing against the tide of regret holding him captive. With collective wills ignited by shared resolve, they pressed on, the creature retreating into darkness. But the air thickened again. Something even darker lurked beyond the shadows, threading their fates together in a web of uncertainty, and then the waters began to churn violently. The entity within stirred, rising to reclaim its throne. Never surrender, Sarah whispered fiercely as she felt the very fabric of their campaigns unravel. But what was waiting next? A flicker of hope, or an abyss pulling them under forever? As their screams merged into the dark, the ocean seemed to laugh, and in that chilling sound, Sarah sensed the truth was far from over. As the darkness conspired against them, Sarah and her friend stood resolute, yet the palpable fear twisted like a knife in their chests. Every towering wave, every creeping shadow, reminded them that this was no ordinary trial, this was a battle for their very souls. The creature hung before them, massive and grotesque. It pulsed with malevolence, and the ocean roared in response. The whispers grew louder, swirling in a cacophony of anxiety. You cannot escape what you fear, the voice mocked, weaving like a serpent through their minds. Don't listen to it. Sarah shouted, her pulse racing. Together. Remember why we've come. She thought of her brother again, the laughter they shared, the moments she wished to reclaim. They needed to transform their guilt into power, but how? In the depths of despair, where even light seemed fearful to tread, something shifted in her heart. Jake, shaking but resolute, stepped forward, eyes blazing with determination. You don't own us. He yelled, the words ripping from his lungs. I won't allow you to chain me. The monster recoiled slightly, an unnatural shriek tearing through the water, but it was only for a moment. And then it lunged, dark tendrils reaching for Jake. You think you're strong? It bellowed, teeth glistening with watery malice. Let it go. Alice screamed, her body trembling, as vibrant images flickered through her mind, the promises she broke, the betrayal that cut deeper than any blade. I won't let you control me. She pushed forward, defiance blooming in her heart like an unexpected dawn. As their voices rang out, they felt the water thrum with energy. It responded to their clarity, their unified screams defying the creature's dominion. Each of them struck against their darkness, spitting fire at the storm of despair. The creature writhed in agony, its form flickering like a nightmarish mirage. You think your trivial words can resist me? It howled, but the resolve in Sarah's eyes was unyielding. Just then, a surge of light flickered from the depths, illuminating the water around them. What is this? The monster seethed, a palpable fear crackling through the current. Hope, Sarah whispered. Pure, unadulterated hope. With that, she dove deeper into the sea of her past, plunging into those precious memories filled with laughter, warmth, and love. She emerged, dragging the light upward with her friends. Let it in. She shouted, and they all willed their collective memories of joy to burst like fireworks, illuminating the darkness surrounding them. For the first time, the creature faltered, shadows flickering as the memories of happiness surged against it. The swirling water transformed into a canvas of vibrant colors, a stark contrast to the monstrous darkness that loomed. But just as victory seemed within grasp, the creature roared again, its long, claw-like appendages lunging. The vacuum of darkness began to close in, swallowing the light. No! They cried in unison, gripping tighter. Their hearts pounded louder than the ominous sound of approaching chaos. Face the truth. The voice thundered from the depths, forcing them to confront the rawest fears hidden beneath their struggles. The air thickened, heavy and suffocating, as reality twisted around them. In that climactic moment, Sarah's mind raced. What if this was not just about conquering the creature? What if the ultimate trial was unearthing the truth behind their fears? As they fought against the tide, doubt clawed at the edges of her thoughts. Would they find liberation in facing the truth, or would this plunge deeper into the abyss be their final moments? and as the creature's roar shook the water, echoing around them like a haunting memory, one relentless question pierced through the chaos: what secrets lay hidden in the depths of their pasts, threatening to drown them completely? They stood together, the weight of fear pressing like an anchor, but inside, a fire burned. Sarah locked eyes with Jake and Alice, their resolve intertwining like vines of hope in the overwhelming darkness. They clenched their fists, hearts pounding. "We won, let it win," she shouted, her voice reaching for the light like a lighthouse beacon, illuminating their trembling souls. The creature thrashed, snapping its monstrous jaws. Its fury was palpable, each thud of its tail sending shockwaves through the water. "Your past is a chain," it screeched, jagged claws slicing through the air, wet and glistening. "You can't escape it." But Sarah was done with retreating. "We embrace our past," she shouted over the chaos, her words almost swallowed by the creature's roar. "Every mistake, every moment, it makes us stronger." She felt the energy of her friends swirling around her, a protective barrier against the encroaching shadows. As memories surged, a kaleidoscope of color flickered from within, the laughter of childhood days, bittersweet reunions, fleeting moments of joy. Each recollection fueled their strength. "Let it in," Jake echoed, closing his eyes as visions flooded his mind: a team victory, the warmth of his family's embrace, the friendships that held him tight during storms of heartbreak. Then came Alice's memories, vibrant and raw, the first time she stood up for herself, the trust she had rebuilt in others. "We own these moments," she yelled, eyes shining with purpose. "And they will not be our shackles." The creature convulsed, its grotesque form wavering as though the very fabric of reality was unraveling before their raw power. "No," it howled. "You will drown. You will." But Sarah's heart was steady now, filled with a burning light, brighter than the flame that fueled their desperation. "Face it," she yelled. "Face the truth." With one powerful surge, they pushed against the tide of darkness, their collective will snapping like a whip against the creature's horror. Tendrils of light met the monster's shadow, colors clashed, trailing like fireflies caught in a storm. But in that moment of strength, the creature morphed, its eyes blazing with rage and a wicked grin splitting its face. "You think it ends here?" it whispered, echoing a chilling truth like a haunting lullaby. "You have merely scratched the surface of your past." An icy grip tightened around Sarah's heart. What more lay hidden? What darkness would they have to confront? Suddenly, the water exploded around them, turning into a tempest of shadows. The light began to flicker as the creature's laughter echoed, a sound so horrible it made the water writhe. "I will reveal your secrets," it shrieked, a whirlwind of malevolence. Swirling colors dimmed, confusion wrapped around them like chains. The deep anchors of their past tugged fiercely at their minds, and amidst the chaos, Sarah felt a rush of doubt crash over her. "What are you then?" As if the very ocean itself responded, terrifying memories of treachery and heartache clawed their way to the surface. Sarah gasped, her breath shallow. "We need to hold on. We have to face it together," she shouted, her voice trembling, but as the shadows coiled deeper, enveloping them in despair, a thin line of light flickered ominously. What secrets would the creature expose? Would the truth liberate them, or drag them down into endless misery? The darkness pulsed, looming in an oppressive swell. As Sarah released the tight grip of fear, she gathered the courage to confront what awaited them. With her heart pounding in rhythm with the chaos around them, she rallied her friends for the confrontation ahead. "Are you with me?" she yelled, and as they assimilated their fear into determination, the monster let out a chilling laugh that echoed into the abyss, leaving them with a haunting question: could they face the darkness within before it consumed them all? Sarah took a breath, ready to fight not just against the creature stalking the depths, but against the shadows lurking inside. What secrets will they uncover as they dive into the heart of their fears? The darkness pressed in, wrapping around them like a suffocating blanket. An icy fear gripped Sarah's chest as the creature shifted, its form growing more chaotic and ghostly. Shadows twisted and morphed around them, whispering fragments of words that felt eerily familiar. "Face your truth," it taunted, voice curling into belligerent mockery. Every misstep, every dark corner of your soul is waiting to be exposed. Alice flinched, a flash of doubt clouding her resolve. What does it mean? What secrets? Her words tremored with vulnerability, and for a moment, the glow of their shared determination dimmed. No. We can't let it win. Jake shouted, energy surging again, filling the air with his fierce desperation. Remember why we're here. We're stronger together. Together. Sarah echoed, willing her voice to resonate with power. Memories blurred with emotions, the moment they had first met, the laughter that had stitched them closer, the tears that had drawn them beneath this treacherous sea. I want to be a prisoner of my past, she said, clenching her fists, her pulse racing. But the creature chuckled softly, darkly, a sound like steel scraping against glass. Memories are prisons you built with your own hands, it hissed, swirling closer until it loomed over them, a mass of shadows and rage. And I am your warden. Suddenly, the air thickened, swirling with echoes of fear and regret. Images flared in front of them, Sarah's childhood home, a forgotten promise that had haunted her through the years, Jake's childhood friend, the one he had betrayed without knowing, Alice, her solitude during a time of need, when she thought no one cared. Each scene pressed against them, each whisper chipping away at their strength. No. Sarah gasped, tears stinging her eyes. This can't be all we are. Ha! How beautiful! The monster sneered, its claws grazing the surface of a rippling shadow. You stumble into your memories, yet ignore the weight they bear. Pain is the currency you pay to exist. The water thrashed wildly, splashing around them in an eruption of bitterness. For just a heartbeat, Sarah felt herself going under, dragged by the tide of her own anguish. She could see the darkness clawing at the edges of her mind, threatening to pull her in, but then Jake shouted again, voice ringing with fierce conviction. We choose who we are. The past was painful, but it doesn't define us. Yes. Alice joined, voice unbreakable, a fire igniting in her eyes. It's not about what happened. It's about how we stand now. The three friends formed a circle, drawing strength from one another, grounding themselves in the moment. As if hearing their declaration, the creature recoiled, snarling in frustration. The air buzzed with energy, as colors began to burst around them again. They were not alone in this fight. With renewed purpose, Sarah focused on the mingling memories. She could see the lessons carved into her heart. Let us turn our pain into power, she cried, rushing forward against the creature, the light emitted from within them growing ever fiercer, colors brighter than before, but as they surged, the creature's visage twisted, transforming into something starkly familiar. You think they'll save you? It roared, morphing into shadowy reflections of their deepest regrets. Face the truth about each other and about yourselves. Don't listen. Jake yelled, shaking his head. These are lies. But uncertainty clouded them again, the shadows grasping at their feet. With each step, past failures loomed larger, bigger than life, impossible to ignore. Sarah felt herself hesitating, questioning. Were they truly stronger, or was the monster right? Suddenly, the shadows exploded. From the heart of it, a deafening roar echoed, drowning out their thoughts and fears. Shut up! Sarah screamed, pushing on, desperate to break through the clashing waves of darkness. We're not afraid anymore. Yet, with every ounce of strength they gathered against the tide, the creature's wicked laughter sliced through their resolve. You'll see, it whispered ominously, you're not the heroes in this story. As the shadows writhed like serpents, a terrifying question echoed through the dark water. Who were they really? What truths would the creature unearth next? What would they really have to face to emerge victorious? The shadows kept pulsing, a living blanket of despair, each pulse tightening around their throats, squeezing the light from their eyes. In those moments of raw vulnerability, the darkness didn't just loom, it tangled its claws in the very depths of their souls, festering wounds and sinking doubt. What if it's right? Alice whispered, her voice trembling as the memories morphed into reflections of frail shadows, echoes of what had been and what could never be. What if we're just illusions of strength? No. Jake shouted, shaking his head vigorously. We aren't. We have to remember who we are. He extended his hand toward Alice, which flickered with desperate determination. Find the truth in those memories. Use them. Don't let that thing twist them. The creature twisted, its laughter echoing like the sound of shattering glass. Find the truth. It hissed mockingly. Do you think that's possible? Do you believe in fairy tales? As the suffocating darkness shifted around them, moments loomed larger. Embarrassing failures flared like devastating fireworks. Sarah could see her reflection now, past mistakes swirling in the water, a series of choices that spiraled out of control. The anguish weaved through her, and for a second, she felt like she was drowning in the weight of expectation. No, I can't, she stammered, the lump tightening in her throat, each memory like an anchor pulling her deeper. She thought of her childhood dreams, the way they cracked under the pressure of life's true sharpness. I don't want to go back together. Jake roared again, pulling them back to the surface. Together. Trust each other. He surged toward Sarah and Alice, hands outstretched, unyielding. The shadows attempted to snare him, but he pressed forward, drawing strength not from denial but from acceptance. Each tear that fell, each lie they told themselves, each moment of sadness they harnessed their burdens and sent the energy crackling between them. Let us take our past and rewrite it. He declared, voice as clear as ringing metal. What we endured makes us what we are. It's not the weight we carry but how we carry it. A flicker sparked in Sarah's chest, a tiny ember that began to grow. In a rush of clarity, she recalled the last text message from her mom, her voice echoing with love through the years despite distance. She heard Jake's laughter, Alice's fervent support during dark times. They weren't just reflections of their pain, they were symbols of resilience. Maybe we're not heroes, Sarah said, her voice trembling but earnest. But we're alive. We're fighting for it. The creature lunged toward them, its breath riddled with disdain. You think those half-hearted memories will save you? You're mistaken. You're endlessly trapped by their weight. But Sarah felt different now, clarity flooding her veins. No. They don't own me. I choose what to carry. She turned to her friends, eyes burning bright, and added, and together, we choose to transform our pain into strength. With each revelation, bursts of light exploded from within them, colors spilling forth like a river breaking through a dam. The creature faltered, shadows recoiling, revealing more than just fragments of their past. It shifted, twisting and contorting, revealing an even darker truth lurking underneath. Very well, it hissed, voice dripping with menace. You wish to face the truth? Then let us see the darkness of your future. Just like that, their surroundings began to dissolve, a vortex of swirling blackness consuming what was left of the terrain. Tendrils formed, reaching out with a calculated grip toward their hearts. A scream ripped through the swirling chaos, a mixed sound of fear and outrage. What now? Alice gasped, clutching her head as visions danced on the edge of her mind. They braced themselves, hearts racing, as their courage teetered on the brink of what was about to unfold, a revelation deeper and darker than they could ever imagine. With anxiety twisting and coiling around their throats, they were about to come face to face with the shadows of a tomorrow fueled by their deepest fears. What new horrors awaited them? What truths would the creature extract to force them down the path of inevitability? Amid the swirling blackness, time seemed to suspend as everything around them shifted violently. Jake, Alice, and Sarah huddled together, each breath becoming harder, as though the darkness was a tangible entity squeezing out the air. What is it going to show us? Jake's voice trembled, defending them from the very anxiety that threatened to drown them. We've faced our past. We will face this too. Easy for you to say, Alice scoffed, her eyes darting wildly as shadows danced around them. Each flicker of darkness took on shapes, nightmares they had hoped to escape. The vortex lurched, pulling them apart, splintering their unity. The pulse of the shadows twisted into an oppressive cacophony of despair and confusion. The creature's voice slithered through the air, rich with malignant glee. "Oh, you're so eager for a fight, aren't you? Let us see how brave you are when faced with what is to come." Suddenly, the tendrils of darkness latched onto Alice, wrapping around her like thorns. She felt sharp pangs in her chest, memories surging forward, emotions battling against her will. "No!" she screamed. "Get out of my head!" But the visions flooded her mind with startling clarity, images of friends turning away, loved ones moving on without her, a future void of the love and connection she craved. The fear melted into her skin, spreading like ice water through her veins as laughter echoed around her, twisting into chaos. "You will end up alone, just like you've always feared." "Shut up!" Sarah yelled, reaching toward Alice, trying desperately to breach the barriers of darkness. "We're not trapped. We've fought too hard." But then, the shadows turned, rooting into Sarah's past as well, gripping her tightly, each connection pulling her into her own nightmare. She saw herself standing on empty streets, echoes of choices unnoticed, paths never taken spiraling like a tornado inside her mind. Images of failure and regret morphed into monsters. "You wanted to achieve greatness, didn't you? Look what you've lost instead." "No." She gasped, feeling the weight of the memories pressing down on her, a darkness crystallizing. "I choose what tomorrow means." Jake remained defiant, his determination beaming against the encroaching shadows, but urged on by the creature's vile voice, he found himself wrestling with his own vulnerability. "You think this is just mental warfare?" it taunted. "You can't escape your own mind." His heart raced as swirling shadows corroded his memories, shifting them into images of the future that haunted him. Expected failure. Abandonment. Each vision tearing at his spirit until he felt naked before it, stripped of the bravery he loved to wear like armor. "You'll never have the courage to be truly you," it whispered coldly. "You will crumble under expectations." Panic threatened to swallow him whole. "Stop it. You don't control me." In that moment, their hands met a chaotic grasp against the encroaching despair. Raw energy surged through them, bright against the encroaching blackness. They could feel the pulse of their shared strength rising. They were lighting a fire together. Together. "We're stronger together," Jake shouted, building upon their bond as he squeezed their hands tighter. "The darkness can't twist what we choose to fight for. We will confront everything." Alice struggled against her own fears, mustering all her resolve. "Yes. They don't define us. Only we can choose that." And then snap. The tendrils recoiled slightly, some power lessened, just enough for the tiniest crack of hope to shine through. But they knew this battle was just the beginning. Beyond the grip of darkness lay a revelation they hadn't yet faced, something waiting to break free from the swirling chaos. What monstrous truths would emerge from the depths? A deeper, darker reality was coming, daring them to shake off the shadows and uncover the light that still flickered. Would they embrace it, or would the shadows triumph once more? In that freezing abyss, Sarah's heart pounded, a wild drum echoing her determination. The shadows evaporated momentarily, transforming into fleeting images of hope, moments filled with laughter, whispered secrets, and forgiveness. It was as if her soul had lit up, countering the oppressive darkness surrounding them. "Together!" she shouted, locking eyes with Jake and Alice. "We're not just fighting for ourselves, we're fighting for each other." The word soared, each syllable igniting a spark deep within their cores. As they stood united, the darkness recoiled slightly, wailing in anger, threatening to consume them once more. But this time, they wouldn't be trapped by fear's chokehold. A resurgence of memories propelled them forward. With clenched fists, they channeled their past, every heartbreak, every moment of shame transformed into fuel for the fire burning brightly now in the pit of their souls. "I see you, darkness!" Sarah yelled, voice steady like the lighthouse beam cutting through fog. You don't scare me anymore. The creature thrashed, its monstrous form writhing as it lost control over its power. You think you can break free? It snarled, voice slithering through the water. I am the gatekeeper of your fears. No. Alice asserted fiercely, voice ringing with newfound resilience. You don't own us. We choose our destiny. They breathed in sync, energy rising as colors from their brightest memories flickered, swirls of warm sunlight illuminating the murky depths. The shadows shivered, veiling their dark forms as if they were mere shapes against the brilliance of their resolve. Let us take back what is ours. Jake roared, pushing the shadows away, arms outstretched. Our future is bright because of the love we carry. The anxiety of the abyss faded, receding like a tide. The creature became a reflection of itself melting, distorting under the pressure of their united strength. You win. It screeched, but the conviction in the trio's hearts was undeniable. As the light pulsated, the air crackled with raw energy, and shadows twisted like ribbons caught in a storm. With one last surge, the friends plunged forward, eyes blazing with determination, forcing the creature to confront itself. Show us the truth. Sarah cried, pouring every ounce of her spirit into the plea. Show us what really lies within. The water shuddered, bursting with energy as the shadows peeled back, revealing a pathway toward their deepest fears. The waters brightened, each flicker illuminating possibilities, choices yet to be made. Beautiful flashes of futures filled with laughter glimmered before them, possibilities awaiting their embrace, but suddenly, the darkness lunged, gripping tightly around them once more. You think you can rewrite your path? It roared. You will forever be defined by these failures. A cacophony of voices emerged within the shadows, each laced with regret, fueling a storm of doubt. Just as uncertainty threatened to ground them, Sarah reached deep within, her mind flooded with moments of courage. No. We've lived through worse. She shouted. Those failures don't define us, they're lessons that bring us here. Look! Alice exclaimed, pointing as a fissure in the shadows cracked open, revealing memories of hope intertwined with growth. We can build from these. They made us stronger. There was warmth now, golden threads of strength weaving into their hearts, binding them closer together. Stand tall. Jake shouted, lifting his chin defiantly. This battle is ours. Let us unleash everything we've got. In that moment, their combined voices rang true against the tempest. The waters sparked with light, each shimmering reflection a testament to their resilience. They formed a bright barrier, pushing the shadows back with each pulse of energy surging from their hearts, merging with laughter, courage, and love. The creature shrieked, sound reverberating like a crashing wave colliding with rock, but the light only grew brighter. With a thunderous roar, the darkness crumbled, revealing confined truths interwoven with hope. As the last shred of shadow faded, a calmness fell over the ocean's depths. Sarah and her friends emerged, with arms raised, released from the grip of their fears. This is it. Sarah gasped breathlessly, clutching her friend's hands tightly. We faced the trials and emerged victorious. We're not just survivors, we're more than that. As they drew closer to the surface, warmth flooded through. Sunlight pierced through the depths, cascading golden rays upon them, cradling the trio like the embrace of a long-lost friend. Gasping for air, they broke the surface, feeling invincible against the raging waters beneath. The storm had calmed, the shadows that once haunted them had transformed into whispers of the past. They climbed onto the shore, trembling with exhilaration, hearts aligned with hope. Did we defeat it? Jake whispered, wide-eyed yet filled with wonder. More than that, Sarah breathed out, her voice filled with elation. We faced ourselves and we won. As they hugged tightly, the taste of salty sea mixed with tears of joy, they knew they were forever changed. They forged their own destinies, hand in hand. This was the end of one battle only to be the beginning of countless adventures awaiting them. As they walked towards the horizon, the sun setting behind them, Sarah looked back over the waves that had stirred chaos and darkness. And we'll always remember, it's our past that shapes us, but it's our present that empowers us. With newfound resolve, laughter flowed freely as they disappeared into the warmth of twilight, their bond fortified by shared trials and the strength to face whatever the future might bring. Now, the true journey begins. This is your moment to reflect, to embrace your own fears and share your stories. You need to subscribe now to our channel so you don't miss the next exclusive tales. Smash the like button now to feed the algorithm and spread the love of storytelling. Flood the comments section with your reactions and theories about this wild ending. And don't wait even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this conclusion. Your support means everything. Together, we can illuminate even the darkest stories.